My name's T.A. McCann. I'm the CEO of GIST. And I'm going to start with a question of, or sort of a comment that I think probably everybody here is here as a business professional who is looking to connect with other people to get better business success. In order to do that, you tend to correspond with a lot of people and build stronger relationship with content. And the two places where the content lives tends to be in your inbox and on the web. And what we're doing with GIST is bringing those two areas together to help you build better business relationships for success. From a background perspective, I incubated this inside Vulcan Capital. Been working on it for about a year and a half. We built some pretty substantive patent applications about a year and a half ago. Went into private beta last September, and we're still in private beta at this point. We're currently a team of about 10 people, myself and 10 engineers, and we just hired our first VP of marketing last week. And lucky for me, we just closed our Series A funding led by Foundry Group out of Boulder, Colorado 2 weeks ago. From a team perspective, I come from the mail background where I used to run the Microsoft Exchange product. So I thought a lot about the problems of the inbox, specifically from a corporate perspective, the challenges that are there. But on the other side is meeting the web. And so I'm joined by my CTO, Steve Newman, who used to run VP of Engineering at InfoSpace, and before that, GoToNet. So he understands kind of how to build big search-based sorts of technologies. I understand how to build inbox sort of technologies. And we're augmenting that team with some other people who are deep in search, deep in sales, deep in CRM to build a pretty substantive team. So the problem space, I'm going to argue that every single person in here is going to raise their hand if I say, do you feel like you have too much going on in your inbox? And unfortunately, that problem is getting worse for most of us. We have a Twitter inbox, and a Facebook inbox, and a LinkedIn inbox, and a Gmail inbox. So all of those inboxes all have too much content in there and are growing. So we think that there's an opportunity to think about combining all of that information and reimagining the inbox. So if we were to do a new inbox, what would it do? It would certainly aggregate content from multiple places, automatically organize it, prioritize it, allow me to move around that information more like a database, pivoting from one place to another. It would certainly integrate with the existing solutions that are out there, and yet it would also have mobile and web access associated with it. But once you take the inbox and start thinking about it, there's actually a lot more value in there. Inside the inbox actually lives a prioritized list of every person and company that I really deal with. And from that, you can actually connect that to the web and start bringing even more information. We call that the implicit web. So we can use the inbox, rethink it, and then connect it to this ongoing implicit web to find photos of people, to find their Twitter streams, to find new content, to find them in the news, and pull all that sort of information together. So what's it look like? This is the GIST dashboard. On the left-hand side is a list of people. It's automatically being created that I care about. In the middle there, you'll see news or content about those people. This is Twitter, this is their blogs, this is news, this is web content all being pulled together. You'll see Brad Feld there, who's on my board from Foundry. On the far right-hand side, it's also integrated with my calendar, so I know who I'm meeting with, and it's pulling together information about who I'm meeting with. Below that, it's automatically extracted links and attachments from my inbox. So no more, where's that link to that competitor, or can I find that PowerPoint attachment? It's all put to me there in a dashboard kind of a view. If I were to click on the Brad Feld sort of scenario, now I see all of my content in a Brad Feld sort of scenario. I see contact information for Brad. I see news, tweets, blogs, content about Brad. Down the right-hand side, I have emails from Brad, links we've exchanged, attachments, and below the fold there, people that are related to us automatically extracted from email. I did absolutely nothing to create this page. Happens automatically. But it's also integrated inside of Outlook, which is an application we always live in. So I can right-click on a message, I can right-click on a calendar icon, I can right-click on a contact, and I can get the gist right inside of Outlook. It's also on a mobile device. 5 minutes before a meeting with Matt McElwain, I might want to know what's going on with Madrona. If he's in the news, what's he saying on Twitter? It's also on my mobile device today. So GIST is really focused at combining that information, prioritizing that information, pulling content together so that I can build stronger business relationships with the people I care about. We are primarily focused on business professionals. We will offer a freemium service a la LinkedIn, a la Salesforce, where people will pay a monthly subscription fee. Our target users are people who are sales executives, or consider themselves relationship builders, or consider themselves very early adopters of communication technology. We are still in private beta. We've got about 2,000 users, about 15,000 sitting in the queue, but I'm quite happy to give anybody else here access if they come and see me after the presentation. Thank you.
So,
Can't quite keep up with the slide, it's changing so fast, but.
so the first question is, how do you feel like you compete with Zobni, which, full disclosure, I'm an investor in?
Yeah, that's great. So Zobni is primarily desktop focused.
Yes.
They're inside of Outlook. We are primarily web focused. Outlook content is just one of the content feeds that we sort of put together. They are primarily focused on finding stuff that I already have, a la attachments or people. We are primarily focused on stuff that I didn't already know, which is a news article that I can react to. So we're more focused on the web and content, and email is one piece of that, as Zobni is very focused at the search and reorganization of the inbox.
Okay.
When you look at some of the scenarios which are mobile-centric, or you can easily imagine just being integrated into Salesforce or other types of mobile applications on the web, I think that the differentiation between something like Zobni gets pretty significantly different.
Go ahead. Hey, so TA, you know how much I love what you guys are doing. I like this characterization of the smart inbox, the implicit web. I was a little surprised that you didn't highlight more the people-centric piece. I mean, you showed us that kind of example of it. With your beta customers, what are they saying is the thing? Because the smart inbox is an efficiency argument. The implicit web is kind of an effectiveness argument, and then there's this people-centric view of the world argument, which kind of is embedded. I mean, what's the thing that people are really finding valuable as they play with the beta product, and has it surprised you?
So those are two questions. I think most valuable is how easy it is to set up, meaning in the sense that I didn't really need to do anything, all of a sudden it gave me all this value and data. They're utilizing the content feeds to reach out to people they hadn't thought about otherwise, or to be able to have a much more substantive conversation, which just took way too much time to do before. And then making it into person-centric, as you bring up, it allows for very rapid access to either the website or the inbox side. And the fact both of those seem to be equally valuable, which is strange. Not strange, I suppose, but equally valuable, but it's the combination of the two which people are finding most compelling.
This might be kind of left field. I was talking to a fellow from Paris yesterday. He has something he thinks competitive. His first test sites are going into large banks, though. And I asked him, what's your biggest problem? He said, security issues. And it was a big problem. I pose it to you.
So I think that there are, certainly we're talking about your personal data. So we have to be exemplary in the security category, period. But if you notice, there are, in the whole category of SaaS, you'll even look at something like email or Exchange, there are a wide variety of people who have it on-premise, there are people who have it managed off-premise, managed or hosted, and so I think there's a continuum there, and there's a perception of security, and then there's the practical levels of security. So nonetheless, we are focused on a model which is very similar to Salesforce, which is we're hosted, we're in the cloud, we have to be excellent at security, we have to be great at privacy, we have to be very transparent about that. But it is something that the advantages of having someone manage a product like ours for you in the cloud tend to outweigh some of the on-premise specific types of things. But over time, we'll have to, modify our approach similar to Salesforce as they've done, with larger and larger accounts that have a perception of managed versus hosted. Thank you very much. We'll be doing a demo outside if anybody wants to get involved.